Welcome to Dare a New Belief, a place to discover what is possible for your life after the loss of a loved one, and where you will find inspiration, insight, support, and love, and hopefully a bit of laughter to help you through your day. Now, here's your host, Nada Hogan.
Welcome to Dare a New Belief, where you will find light and life, love and joy, healing, faith, and hope. A place where you get to believe in what is possible for your life. And today I have the great honor and privilege to invite back Judy Matejczyk. Judy is an award-winning life mastery consultant, certified in 2010. Judy has guided hundreds to transform their dreams into reality. And knowing that each one of us is far more powerful and contain more potential than any circumstance, situation, or condition. Judy has guided special education students and parents with the Dream Builder principles up until 2014. And since 2014, Judy has delivered a passionate message of hope with her fun-loving approach to life on her YouTube videos and Facebook Lives. In August of 2020, in response to the pandemic, Judy created Paradigm Shifters, a Facebook group that features speakers globally who are in the middle of transformation. As a sought-after speaker in churches and schools, Judy has shared the stage with Mary Morrissey and Matt Boggs. Her events are uplifting and full of surprises. And I am honored to say, welcome back, Judy. Thank you so much for being here with us again today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It's such an honor. And you just can tell from your energy, you are absolutely positive. You are uplifting. You're definitely full of surprises. You just have such a powerful, positive message. And it's fabulous to listen to you and to be in your energy. So for the listeners, if you missed part one, we ended our conversation when we were talking about a closed Facebook group that Judy has that is called Paradigm Shifters. And that's where I want to pick up this conversation. So Judy, for the audience that doesn't know what a paradigm even is, can you explain to us what that is?
Sure. It's an interesting name for limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way. That's where I would explain that to my students.
Yeah.
And it's not although a paradigm isn't necessarily good or bad, it's just there to keep us safe.
Right.
So a paradigm could be like, it's COVID, I can't do anything.
Right.
A paradigm can be, I'm going to die tomorrow, so why don't I just blow it all today? In a recovery movement, it could be, they call it defects of character. I don't like that term because it's everything that we've ever put in and programmed to keep us alive, pretty much, you know.
Right.
And also safe. And Paradigm Shifters is to look at a paradigm and honor it that it's there. And as I teach my clients, take the paradigm, write it on paper, you know, like, for me, it's I'm almost 70. What am I doing out here walking stuff like that? You know, I kind of busted that one out. But you know, like the paradigm could be there. I don't have the money. I don't have this. And what I have them do is write it down. Take a pen and circle the paradigm, and that circle around the paradigm represents God or higher power, the universe.
Okay.
And so then I have them take from the center of that paradigm and shoot an arrow right through that circle to the other side. And outside of that paradigm is a new belief, a new paradigm.
Okay.
And so we create new paradigms because we are looking at our old paradigms.
Beautiful.
And everybody's got paradigms. If you're breathing, you got paradigms, which
Right.
is so nice to know.
Yeah. Yeah. The group where you have all the company in the world. Oh, I love that. That's such a beautiful visual and a beautiful thing to be able to do on the paper. And it reminds me of when people talk about the golden thread that's kind of shot down from heaven, this golden thread that just weaves through our body. And that's what I was thinking when you were painting this picture in my mind of this arrow that goes right through the center of the paradigm. It's brilliant. And do you find, do people resonate well with that and they're able to shift from that old paradigm that's limiting them and opens up this brand new world of how can I look at this from a different perspective, or how can I turn this into a new paradigm that is empowering me? Are your people finding a lot of benefit from that?
Oh, absolutely. I've been teaching that for since 2010. And it's so many of the people that I work with. I used to work with all the students, and now I work with their parents. And currently I've been working with older adults who are losing their parents, the ones who are in those nursing homes they can't see. So there's all that. Yeah, I've been working with some really interesting clients during the pandemic. So what I'm saying is that when you get a visual and you have them actually write it out, and then the new paradigm is directly opposite from the old.
Yes.
It's the paradigm. And then they write their own affirmation.
Okay.
And then that's the affirmation they use for the week, for whenever the old comes back.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And without a strong vision, the paradigms aren't going to show up.
Right, right. And that visioning, because we talked about that a little bit in part one, when you had your special ed students visualizing what it was that they want for their life. And I want to ask you about that, because sometimes, because I had said, I'm also a life mastery consultant. And when you talk to some people, they'll think that, dreams, just a pie in the sky dream. And if you're having visions of how it is you want your life to be, it's like, get your head out of the clouds. And I'm thinking there's people that really still look at it that way, yet we can so relate to athletes or, even poker players, different groups of people that use imagination to visualize, and they become stronger. They're better at their game or their sport. And it's amazing to me how people can relate to that as if an athlete is different than us. They're just trained in a different field, or the things that they enjoy doing is just different than us. And yet visioning and using the imagination is key to really being able to live into the life that you would love living.
Yes, totally agree. And then comes the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so what I found in last year was it's been the most successful year of my coaching ever.
Yeah.
There was no room to dream. We were surviving.
Right.
So I took 5 different groups through Standing Firm When Your World is Shaking, because they were in shock. When you're in shock, don't touch the dream.
Right.
And it's looking. And so what I found is there were so many people with losses of loved ones, with unable to do anything, and all of that. So what the magic of COVID, I say magic now, is that, it's mentor, structure, and support. So what I found is the vision was much shorter than 3 years. We were visioning month by a month. What would you love for this week, for this month? And so we would go into this health and well-being section. And what would you love for in relationship? So what would you love in that area if you knew that you just had 1 month or a couple weeks left, right?
Right.
And some of the most beautiful vision, we would want to bond. We would want to know people that we love them. It just totally took away that fear.
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I was just going to say, you can, even when you said that, you can feel yourself just stepping into love, because all of a sudden it's just, I just want to be in this place of love and gratitude and be with the people that feel really good to me. And I get to give up the worry when I'm in all of that.
Yeah. And so you babysit. No, I don't say babysit, baby step. So at the end of, and I've had in one of my groups on Wednesday night, I would say like at least 4 people in there lost someone last year close to them.
Wow.
So the visioning is, what would you love to see yourself in 1 week? And some of it was like that I would eat again, or that I wouldn't cry. And then we would say, yes, we can hold that for you.
Yes.
And so over the months, it's grown and grown and grown to where now they're visioning a life for themselves without their loved one. And it's so beautiful to watch. And one of my clients is writing a history of her mother's life.
Oh, and gorgeous.
It's how she's coping and doing this process, and it's going to touch so many people.
Right.
And we've all made it through the first year almost.
Yes.
Of COVID, and we are healthy. We come together, and that's what Paradigm Shifters is all about, the group. So back in August, I had this idea, because my vision for myself is global transformation, global reach, where I impact 1 million families in bonding and connection.
Love it.
By a certain date, 2024 it was, okay? So I'm like, okay, well, what do I need to do today with what I've got? So I'm like, I know how to start a private Facebook group. I thought maybe there'd be 25 in there.
Yeah.
And in that group, I bring in people that I know. I've been around this stuff for so long. I know some really dynamic speakers from all over the globe.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to invite a guest speaker in every week to address a certain paradigm and how they shifted it in their own story. So in August, it started out 25. Then it grew, and then Black Lives Matter came, and I have a friend who's a minister in Detroit, and he's in the Unity Church in Detroit. He came on. He does a forgiveness ministry. In the middle of Black Lives, and he came on. And then this other one. And as all this stuff unfolded, I'm like, I wonder who I know I can invite next week. So it's like grown like crazy.
Yeah.
We've had, I think, 19 different weeks so far. There's 715 people in there. And every day it grows and grows. Because that's the global piece. We're all in this globally. It's not just your community. It's not just your family.
Right.
And people, one of my friends from Slovenia, I want to know. I said, what are you doing with COVID in Slovenia? First question. And she talked about what their country's doing. And I like to ask that question because that's right here, right now, that's their current problem. Right?
Yes.
And because they are transformational leaders and teachers, I'm like, okay, well, tell me what you're doing over there. How are you talking to those people? And I'm learning so much.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And in that group right now, we have school teachers, principals, government people, entertainers, you name it. And they all have their own little gifts and how they are shifting.
Wonderful. And I love it because there's so many people. We can hear a message from one person and it just doesn't land for us. So Judy, can you tell me, how would the listeners be able to get in contact with you if they wanted to join your Paradigm Shifters Facebook group?
Well, you could go to Judy Matejczyk on Facebook, and you could do that way and do a friend request to me, or you can go into the Paradigm Shifters and request membership requests. It's real easy.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will have that information in the show notes. Judy Matejczyk with her name spelled correctly, and also just the Paradigm Shifter link will be in there too. So listeners, you'll have no problem jumping in there. And in fact, I'm really interested in this group, and you're going to probably see a request from me because I love this idea. It's fabulous. So one of the other things, because we're going to run out of time before we know it, it's amazing how quickly this time goes by. But a couple of times recovery has come up. Is recovery something in your life or in a family member's life?
It's in my life. I currently have 27 years in the Al-Anon program.
Okay.
And also I've just celebrated 24 years of sobriety.
Oh,
Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah, and that's where I get my strength. I go to a meeting every day, and it's meditation meetings where we come together as a meditation group, silent meditation, and just trusting. It's the 12 steps, yeah. And that's where I first got started in all my spiritual growth. And I continue it to this day. And I know if it wasn't for that, if I don't keep that as my number one focus, I'll slip and I'll fall. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Wow. I did not know that. I just applaud you. Amazing. That's just so fabulous. And look at where it took you. I mean, my goodness, you were a high school dropout. I didn't know that you were going through Al-Anon or that you had alcoholism in your life at all. And at 48, you became a special ed teacher. And now you're coaching these beautiful groups and people one-on-one. And it just amazes me how, I mean, this is just the power of our life and the life that's in our DNA. It's just always beckoning us. Telling us, keep coming forward. Don't quit. Don't give up. If you've fallen down, just stand up again and keep on walking. If you fall again, stand up again. So this makes me think of one of the most powerful. There's so many powerful things that I heard from Mary, so I shouldn't say one of the most powerful, but this stays in my mind so often. And I know that this is something that you talk about, where Mary says that the content of your life is the curriculum of your evolution. And you are absolutely living proof of that. Can you speak into that for us? What does that mean to you?
It means I need to get a tattoo on my arm that says that.
Right. Make sure you post it so we can see that.
No. You know what? I don't do tattoos. I mean, no. But I remember when I first heard that, it didn't make sense. Yeah. And then, I'm a school teacher and I'm teaching curriculum. And I'm looking these kids are evolving. We're all evolving.
Yeah.
And so when I have that forefront, I could go out and I meditate every single morning, that I can't not meditate. Yeah. I used to try it without. Doesn't work. and giving myself up to a higher power with my vision in mind. Like, okay, which step do I need to take in the direction of my evolution into this vision? So I could be going along and having something really awful come up, and like, oh man, are you kidding me, God? And I get really mad at God a lot.
Yeah.
I got really mad at God on January 6th. And guess what? January 6th, that night, I was teaching a group. And every Wednesday in January, I had the same group. And we went through the insurrection together. They processed it. The next week, we went through the impeachment. And after that, we went through the inauguration together. And all kinds of ideas, all kinds of persuasions, but we did it together knowing that there is a force and a power within us that is much greater than anything, and it is our curriculum at this time. So the whole thing is we are so grateful to be alive during this time.
Yeah.
It's a growth experience, man.
Absolutely it is, right? What a huge curriculum for this evolution. And it feels like it's a whole global evolution that is taking place, and so many wonderful teachers inside of that curriculum. I just love it. And your group is so lucky and blessed to have you and to be able to process all of this information and great upheaval that's taken place really since last year with the pandemic on top of everything else that's been going on in the world. It's such a blessing, the work that you bring to the world. And I don't even want to have to say it, but we are completely out of time again. It's so crazy. So, Judy, I want to thank you so much, and thank you for your work and your words of wisdom and the information, the teaching that you share with your people and with your groups, and offering this other beautiful group, the Paradigm Shifters. And I will make sure that everybody gets that information. It will be in the show notes, Paradigm Shifters, or you can find Judy Matejczyk right on Facebook. And it's a blessing. And I know that the listeners had all kinds of gold nuggets that they were able to pull from this conversation. So thank you for your work. Thank you for your dedication to yourself and your own emotional, physical healing and the work you do. And thank you for being here with us and sharing all of that.
Oh, you're so welcome. My pleasure. Yeah.
I just love it. So thank you, Judy. I'm going to wish you a beautiful day. And to all of the listeners, wishing you a beautiful day. And knowing Judy is a great example, no matter what is going on in your life, you always can pick yourself up, stand up and take a few more steps. And if you get knocked down, you stand up and you take some more steps. I love this. I love your story, Judy. Thank you so much. And thank you, listeners. And be sure to join us next week for another episode of Dare a New Belief. Much love, everybody. Much love, Judy. Thank you.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Please go to nadahogan.com for show notes and other information you can use right away. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe to our show and don't forget to rate and review right there on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your shows. And don't forget to tell your friends about it. We'll see you next week.